Hey YouTube, it's Justin aka Demonic Sweaters here with another electronic drum video. Today we're going to be talking about the Roland TD-27 module that I have hooked up to my electronic drums back there behind me. And what we're going to be doing today is showing you all the different ways that you can record the TD-27. And there's actually quite a bit. What's really cool about the TD-27 is it has a lot of connection options. So I'm going to go through all of those with you and show you all the different ways you can record your drums if you have a TD-27. But before we do, let's talk about my friends over at oliverflynn.com. Oliver Flynn are makers of plastic-free deodorants, shampoos, conditioners, and lots of other products. They are environmentally conscious and some good friends of mine here in Brooklyn, and definitely check them out. Check out their website. There's a link down below, oliverflynn.com. They have some really, really cool products. Like they make this shampoo bar that's basically a bar of shampoo. I have one. They sent me one to use, and it actually does really good on my hair. My hair is really difficult to deal with. I have really, really curly and dry hair, and it actually, you know, I was a little skeptical given that it was a bar of shampoo and I never used anything like that, but it actually worked really well, and I think it makes my hair look really nice too when I use it. So anyway, check them out. There's a link down below. Now let's go ahead and get on with the video. All right, method number one is just by using the analog outputs on the back of the module. And what I mean by that is just by using the left and right master outputs, as you can see right here. Just plugging 2 1/4-inch cables into those. You could technically just use L mono if you only had one cable, but that would give you a mono signal, obviously. And I just have those running out from the module into a little mixer here that's plugged into a laptop. So method number 2, and what is my preferred method, is by using the USB connection on the side of the TD-27 module. So you can see right here, and you just need a simple USB printer type cable that plugs right into there, and then you just plug that directly into your computer. Now the USB connection on the TD-27 actually gives a lot of options. It's not just MIDI like a lot of drum modules. This one actually can transmit data and audio. So I'm going to show you the few different ways that you can do this using the MIDI connection on the TD-27. All right, so the USB connection on the TD-27 actually has a few different options. So let's go over those right now. First off, let's go to the module and press the system button on the module. And then once you're in the system menu, use the arrow keys to go over to the USB audio menu item. Press enter. Now, if we look here in the USB audio setup, you'll notice down under driver mode, we have an option. We have either vendor or USB driver generic. So generic will give you basically only MIDI output. But if you set it to vendor, you can actually get audio and MIDI over the USB. Now the only trick to that is you have to install the driver from Roland's website in order to use the vendor mode. So let's go over to the computer and show you guys how to do that now. All right, the first thing you're going to want to do is actually download and install the driver so you can use audio over USB on the TD-27. Now that is just at this page right here. Here's the address. It's this long address. I'll post the link down below. So you can just click it and I don't have to read all that out. But you may notice here at the very top, we see TD-27 system program. This is not the driver. This is actually the firmware for the TD-27 device itself. So we're not going to be dealing with this today. This is the topic of another video. Today we're just going to be talking about the drivers, which are right here. We have one for Windows 10, one for Windows 8, Mac OS, and so on below. There is no Linux driver as far as I know. I haven't actually tested it in Linux, so I don't know what happens when you plug the TD-27 into Linux. It may just work. If somebody has tested that, feel free to post a comment down below. I have not tested it myself. So anyway, whichever version of operating system you're using, just download the appropriate one. Click it here. It's going to make you agree to some terms and services down below. Check the little box and say download file. Once it downloads, you just have to unzip it and run the installer. All right, once you've downloaded and installed your driver, next you're going to want to configure it to work in your audio recording program. So what I'm showing you here is actually Reaper, and this is a very popular digital audio workstation that a lot of people use, and I figured it would be a good one to show you on. So what we're going to do is just go to Options and to Preferences. Now this may look a little bit different if you're on Mac or if you're using a different program, but the idea is basically going to be the same. What you're going to want to look for is your audio device settings, which is right here in Reaper under audio and device. And in Windows, you're going to be using ASIO as the audio system. In Mac, it's probably not going to be called that. I can't remember what exactly it says there. But what the important part is under audio driver, you're going to want to select the TD-27. Now you'll notice that I have TD-17 as an option of mine too. And the reason for that is I actually have a TD-20 or a TD-17 as well. So I have both drivers on my system in case I want to use the TD-17, which does this too, but it just doesn't have as many options as the 27. So I'm going to select the 27. Now here for enable inputs, first, now here's where it's really cool. Now you'll notice there's a lot of options here. So the TD-27 can not only send the master output, like the left and right output that I showed you on the back of the module, it can send every single channel out individually, basically stereo tracks of each one. So what you end up with is 2 kicks and left and right, 2 snares left and right, toms, even the auxiliary inputs on the TD-27 all have their own individual channels. So what this means is basically, if you look here, what I'm going to do is enable my first input as number 1, and then my last input I'm going to enable is number 28. So basically, I'm enabling all the inputs. Now, what's cool about this is you can actually use the TD-27 in a recording situation as your audio interface. So what I mean by that is when I'm playing back a song that I want to record to in Reaper, once I have this driver selected, I will actually hear it through the headphones on the TD-27, basically coming back through the device. And that's really, really useful because then your module is actually being used as the audio interface. So anyway, let's go ahead and click OK here. Now, if I start to add a couple of tracks, okay, so if I go and I record arm my track and I want to select my audio input, now there's a few different things I could do here. Basically, what you want to do is stay away from the mono inputs because this is going to be left and right for each instrument, kick, snare, toms, etc. What you're going to want to do is select your stereo inputs. Now, you'll notice here, this can get a little bit confusing because we have master and master R. And what that means is just master left and right. And different programs will word this in a different way. For example, when I do this in Ableton, it actually shows the numbers of all the channels as well, which I think is a little bit more helpful. But it's totally fine here on Reaper to do it this way too. You can figure it out. What you want to do, if you want the, just the basic left and right output, like the analog outputs, just select master right here. Now, if we select another new track, and let's record arm this one, on my module, I have the direct outputs assigned to being the room sounds, like the room reverbs. So what I want to do in that situation is actually select direct 1 and 2. Now, you'll notice here we have master R and direct 1 and 2. Now, this can be a little bit confusing because what that's actually doing there is actually giving you the right master plus the first of the direct 1 and 2 outputs. Now, you wouldn't want to select this really in any situation. And just like that, you also probably would never want to select direct 1 and 2 / kick, kick / snare, because these are going to be 2 different drums on one track, and you really don't want that. You're going to want this to select the matching channels per channel, if that makes sense. So here I'm going to select direct 1 and 2 for my second input. And I'm just going to use basically those 2 inputs. Now, if I wanted to, I could record every individual drum, but I'm not going to. Now, another thing we could do, though, is at the same time, we can also record MIDI. But one problem we might see here is actually it's not showing up in the MIDI list. That's because I didn't activate it within Reaper. So let's go back into our options here, go to Preferences, and now let's go to MIDI devices, and now we'll see all of my billions of MIDI devices I have connected to my computer. But let's go ahead and activate or enable the TD-27. So let's just right click that and then go to enable input and then click OK. Now this should show up in our input options. So let's go to the input MIDI, and right here it is, TD-27, and then just select all channels. And now what will happen is I actually will record audio, master output, as well as the room effects output and a MIDI output all at the same time, which is really cool. So let's go ahead and record a little bit and see how it goes. All right, so here's the recorded tracks of what I just did. And as you can see on the first track here, let's turn off record arm on all of these. Actually, I need to switch my driver over just so you guys can hear this on the screen capture. So I'm going to have to switch this back to ASIO for all. And now you guys should be able to hear that, I believe. So, okay, so let's go ahead and play back a little bit of this. All right, so as you can see, if I solo the first track here, this is my master output. And then here is my room effects. And then here, there's nothing yet, but it's just MIDI. But if I wanted to, I could add something like Easy Drummer. So let's go ahead and add that. Let me grab one of my, oh sure, we'll just use one of these. I just got this, so let's go ahead and use one of these kits. Now, not everything may line up because my kit is a little bit customized, but let's go ahead and solo this and just hear a little bit. Up pretty good. That's pretty cool sounding kit. I haven't heard that before. But the TD-27 sounds great on its own, in my opinion. But you have a lot of options. Like I said before, if you wanted to record each individual drum, let me turn that down. If you wanted to record each individual drum as well as MIDI all at the same time, you could totally do that, giving you basically infinite options as far as mixing goes when you record the TD-27. Now you can do this on the TD-50 as well. The TD-17 and the TD-07 can do a similar thing, but they only record 2 channels of audio instead of all the individualized tracks. But it's still pretty nice because you can do you can do MIDI and audio at the same time on all of them, and it gives you a lot of options. So anyway, yeah, that's going to be all for this video. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. Hopefully I didn't forget anything or leave anything out, but if I did, feel free to let me know down below, and I'll answer best I can. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell icon, like button, and let me know what you think. See you guys really soon. Take care.